Hello my Excel learners. Today, as you can see, the topic is Vlookup. And Vlookup, I can bet you, is one of the most heavily used function in Excel. And I don't know how many times, whenever I need to analyze the data, for sure, that's one of the function I have used Vlookup, is to look the information somewhere and to grab it. So I'm excited, and please listen carefully. This is, I'm sure, you going to be used as one of the heavy user of the VLOOKUP as well, right? And what are the, I'll also not only share how the function work, that's one thing, but what are the challenges you might have, and what are the common mistakes people make when they use the VLOOKUP, what are its limitations, right? That also I will cover in these videos, so you won't waste your time and energy and make those silly mistake which doesn't look in the eyes of yourself. And so if you avoid those mistakes, your boss will be happy, your teacher will be happy if you're doing some work, and end of the day you won't get disappointed. You will be the happy person, and success run and work as well. Okay, so let's me start. So now you can see on my screen I have already preloaded the serial data. If you don't know how to load that serial data, you can watch my lecture 2 video, and where I load the data and analyze how to filter, sort, and all those data. But in this case, I no need to do anything, just simply load the data. And if you don't have this file, I have already put in my the lecture 2 description how you can get this data set. Okay, so without get delay, I'll show you the real example how to use the VLOOKUP cases. Okay, so if I click on the sheet 2, for example, let's say I have these cases. These are the name of the serials. I pre-selected just randomly few serials, nothing by the choice or no bias. I just go there and pick some serials. What I need to do now, right? Let's me rename this. So this is always good to rename your tab, right? So I just double click it, write it, and then press enter, right? And that's it. I got my tab renamed. Okay, so but that's not the topic. So now what I need to see, I'll go here and I need to, let me zoom it a little bit, pick up how many calories for those cereals are, pick up how much fat in those cereals, how much sodiums in those cereals, and how much sugar quantity in that cereal, right? So that's my one option is, okay, I go there and manually fill one by one, which is a very long approach, and I maybe I'll make a mistake. That's the chances. Or what about if the data changes, right? If the data changes, then I have to go and refresh and enter again. That is no, right? We don't want that. We want to be efficient. We want to be Excel in Excel. Okay, so let me show you the power of VLOOKUP. Here, what I'll do, whatever I need, I'll first put in as a header. Okay, so what I need, let me put fat, sodium. Okay, and let me take the sugar as well, right? We can also use the equal and refer it, but I thought just copy, so it should be okay, because just we are focusing more on the VLOOKUP. So as you know, as any time we want to use a function, as from the last exercise, we always use equal, right? And if you haven't watched my lecture 2 video especially, I do recommend, please stop right now here, watch the lecture 2, because it really lecture to really build on those functions, how to use that. And if you don't know how to load the file and basic, I'll suggest go and watch my lecture 3 video, but definitely for this one, lecture 2 will be much helpful. Okay, so I'll use the equal sign and then start typing VLOOKUP. As you can see, the function name start appearing, right? So don't just put the enter or anything, then open the bracket. Once we open the bracket, then we have some few values, right? Look it carefully. It says what value you want to look up, right? Lookup value. Okay, these are my lookup values. I want to look up these values. Where you want to look up? In some table array. Okay, and that's the table array we have in the other tab, which one, and some other columns. Okay, so I'll select I'll do one by one for each cell. So right now for this one, I want to look up for this Cocoa Puff, right? So which is DF5. Okay, the DF5 is Cocoa Puff. I want to look up this, and then I enter comma, and then this one get highlighted, right? Table array. For my table array, make sure when you click here, right, just click here, and I select here from the name, right, and then drag it. I only need the sugar, and then I come at the bottom. You see here, I want to select the whole table up to here. Okay, and then I click here. Don't go there or click anywhere, otherwise you will mess the table. When you click here, it's selected the table range from A1 to J78. A1 we know is the first column, and J78 is J the column, and 78 is our last row, right? So that range is selected, and then I click the comma back. We don't have to go back, we can work on this, right? What you want to do. Okay, let's right now select the one. Okay, and then comma, and it says you want exact match or false match. I'll say I want exact match. Then I type false. This is case insensitive, so whether you type upper or lower doesn't matter, and I close the bracket. Okay, so what will happen here? So this one is the column which we want to pick, right? So right now I select one. So basically from, okay, and let me press enter. Okay, it comes here the same Cocoa Puff, but for me I don't want to select the Cocoa Puff. But the reason why I select one, I just want to showcase to you how the numbering works. Okay, and then we can change it. Okay, I want fat. So where is fat? So A1 to J. So from A to J, if I go to the top and say, okay, this is 1, right? And then I just go to the J is the sugar, right? No, I want the fat, sorry. So if I click here and select here, so this is, what's the number here? I can count it down, or I can easily see at the bottom right is the number 6, right? Because I start from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I come here and then just change this 1 to 6 and enter. Okay, so this, oops, yeah, so it's giving me the fat for the Cocoa Puff is 1. Okay, that's excellent. We got the first the data. Now there is a silly mistake people will do, and especially the beginners, right? What we want to do, what will happen? Let's say if I have this Cocoa Puff, and if I just drag it to the bottom, right? Let me drag it to the bottom to autofill. You see, it's not doing a job. It's not filling anything, right? Somewhere it filled, but it doesn't fill. Why it is like that? The main reason is like that is because you see it goes from A7 to A8. My table got shifted, right? So 7 means starting from here, which is not good. So what you want to do, as I have mentioned to you in the last video as well, I come here and lock this table. Make sure you lock F4. Just click there and type F4 one times here, one times here, and then it just lock the table. So this means if I go and just double click here, as you know, it autofill, my table won't change, right? It's picking up from my table. Okay, I can double check it. If I go to the golden grams, I copy this one to see if it has 1. I come here and quickly data, it doesn't is pre-filtered, so I click on this filter and select the name to see if it's 1. You see the fat is 1, so I clear it back and come back here again. Okay, so this is from the cocoa side. Now I want to do the same thing for sodium and sugar, but I want to just adjust something. So what I'll do, the simple case is, rather than copy, go and look up, because I already locked up my table, easy way is you just drag it to the right. Okay, don't worry. So we have pretty much everything is here. The reason it's giving NA means it's unable to find. So if you want to debug, now I'm not only showing you how to VLOOKUP we already seen. Now we see how to debug if there is a problem occur, which is you might get. Just double click this, right? And you can easily see it's moved from, because when we drag it, it's moved from D5 to E5. It's trying to look up the number 1 into the name column, which is not exist. So I'll change this back to D5 and press enter. Right now what's happened, then the next thing is, if you remember correctly, now I need to pick up the sodium. Here it's still pointing 6, right? And the 6 is fat. So I go there and say sodium. So sodium is number 7. We can check it. If I click here, it says number 7. I come here and then change this to number 7 and enter. You can see my sodium is filled as well, right? And then I double click it and fill it up, right? Now all my sodiums get filled up. Similarly, I want to do sugar as well, right? So where is the sugar? Sugar is number J, column J, which is column 10. I come here, very easy, drag it again to the right and change this to number 10. Oops. I select only this cell, and then first I need to change this to the proper column to look up, and then number 10. Okay, now my sugar level is come up number 13, and double click and it's get filled up. Okay, so if you double click this, it will say, okay, the correct lookup is, make sure you have correct lookup. Okay, now another thing I want to show it to you, the very other common problem. So we have seen now how the VLOOKUP work and the basic of not only the VLOOKUP work, but how to look up in the different sheet. Right now we are not looking up in the same sheet. We already did with the advanced level, right? But it's the same thing. If you're on the same sheet, so rather than a serial, it will just show the column. So that's one. Another thing we have looked up how to lock the table so we don't have that mistake. We see the third thing is debugging to ensure we are picking up the correct column. So if you click here, it should pick up its same row, because I want the same row information here. So make sure you just double click and ensure everything is working right? And just spot check and look up the value so you won't make that mistakes. Another important thing to note on the VLOOKUP is, so we have this A to J and we are looking up this A. So what is in A column? A column is the name of the serial. Okay, so make sure whatever you are looking up, it's the first column in the table. If it's the second column or the third column, your VLOOKUP will never work. That's the rule of the VLOOKUP, that whatever you're trying to look up the values, in my case I'm looking up the name of the brand, it should be in the first column, and then all my lookup value in the table should be the right. I can look up the same column itself, the number 1, right, which I have started from here. But if your lookup values is on the left, for example, if I want to look up, let's say by the manufacturing, and my name is on the left, it won't work because it starts from the 1 and to the right. In that case, I have to bring my A column to the Q, right, and then perform the VLOOKUP, right? Then I need to manipulate the data, but it won't work directly. Now you'll say, how should I do that, right? You just simply copy the data from here to here, or basically if it's on the or you simply refer it, right, using the equal sign, and you just move the data. So that's the common example people has the same limited, even from the limited functionality, how we scale it up to use it. So that's more practical way of doing it. So I hope you like this video, and we have covered many deep advanced level of the VLOOKUP, from the basic and to the very high level where people learn this from their mistakes and then try to spend so many hours and then come. Sometimes people get so puzzled how to make these things work, right? But if we are following more practical approach, and ensure you excel in Excel. So that's what my target is. Give a thumbs up, like this video, and subscribe to your friend as much as possible. If you have unsure on anything, put in the comments. Let your other YouTuber friends also learn by commenting it, that this way it should be solved and that's way it should be learned. But important thing is, make sure you, on top of that is practice this video. Without practice you won't get anything. Okay, and if you unsure how it works, make it on the slow pace in the YouTube and rewatch it, so you will learn it. Okay, thanks, and see you in the next video. Bye for now.